Hello everybody, hope you're doing marvelously well. In today's episode, we're going to try a couple of amazing plugins, which many of you probably already know. They are the Sonnox Envolution and the Sonnox Reverb. So, as ever, please subscribe somewhere around here. You can go to Produce Like a Pro, sign up for the email list, get a whole bunch of free goodies. And of course, we're giving away 3 copies of these plugins as well, so you can enter to win these. Now, many of you have pointed out that these plugins have been out for a while now. And of course, the Oxford series of plugins are pretty legendary, but they're pretty new to me. There's so many great things out there. I discover them as I discover them. The Reverb is something I really wanted to try out and have not yet tried out. Now, I've pulled up this song by Katie Laurel called Hurricane. And this song was a song that I produced to feel like a 50s, late 50s, early 60s kind of Motown stack song. So there's a lot of really cool reverbs going on this. You can tell I'm playing bass and I'm playing like lead lines on it to sort of sound like a 6-string bass. In fact, it's trying to sound a bit like a Fender 6. But in those days, I didn't have the Fender 6. In fact, that's not even mine. I borrowed that from Graham Coxon. So thank you, Graham. But anyway, so this is my regular jazz bass just played with a lot of reverb printed on it. And I think I used a spring reverb, hence that kind of boinginess. So there's a few things I want to do. There's no traditional drums in this. It's just a bunch of beats that I built. And here's one. So I built that. There's a timpani part, which is playing that groove, but it's also playing the bass line. So you can see it's playing the bass line. It's got reverb printed on it as well. Crazy. Here's an overall drum print. And that was built using addictive drums. So there's no individual drum elements in there. So what do I do to make this feel better? Now, if I go to the EQP1 here, you see I've done this 60 boost to try and bring out that kick. Well, it's good. But this is where not the reverb, but the Envolution will come in. So I'm going to turn that off for a second, listen to it. So even that Pultec clone wasn't doing that much. Not that it's a bad Pultec clone, don't get me wrong, but if I go down and go to this rather lovely preset called 50 Hertz Kick Boom. Pretty amazing. I want to mess with this. So the warmth adds to the signal by introducing subtle distortion, 100% warmth. The plug-in output level cannot exceed 0 dBFS. Overloading. So this should be kind of interesting. Let's trash it out a bit because this is supposed to emulate old recording, tape recording. Oh, like that. Bypass. I like how it's picking up that It's picking up that 1 Very James Brown. Remember, it's all about the one. Get up, go down. So it's really making the groove feel better. Take it off. Back on. It's really exaggerating that one. It's nice. See, some of these presets are pretty remarkable, and I'm going to have some fun with them. Gated drums, extract transients. The Envolution is definitely a lot more than just like a single one-trick pony. I've really been experimenting with this, just kind of having fun. What I like is, you see I've got these acoustics here. I've got a mandolin, I've got acoustics, I've got a ukulele or an ukulele. And they're not really heavily edited. You can tell they're a little sloppy, but I kind of like that. So what about this? What if I group them all together, make a stereo bus? Okay, so let's open up the Sonnox Envolution. I'm actually going to go to, believe it or not, a drum preset. And I'm going to take Enhance High Frequency Transients. So listen to this. Here's bypassed. It's immediately making it more percussive. It's just a preset, go straight to it. It's designed for quote unquote drums. I'm putting on acoustic guitar and I can always dial it back a bit. There it's flat, kind of boring. Here it's percussive. Warm it up, bit of saturation. Boring before, more exciting. These are subtle things. Maybe you're not hearing there's like this massive change, but trust me, put it into the track.
I keep saying I can't keep playing this game.
It's like having another shaker in there, but with tone, with chord changes.
I keep saying I can't keep playing.
Just beginning to scrape the surface on the Envolution. It has so much you can do to shape transients. It's really, really fantastic. But I like taking things and using them in the wrong way. And something's designed for a drum bus to kind of exaggerate some transients. Why not use it on a group of acoustic guitars? Or in this case, a group of acoustic guitars, mandolins, and ukuleles. All right, so the Envolution is obviously an incredibly useful tool. Let's have some fun with the vocal. Now, I've already got a bunch of different reverb things going on here, which is typical for me.
I keep saying I can't keep playing.
They're kind of chamberish, they're nice. I don't know if they quite do it for me. Not that they're bad reverbs, don't get me wrong, but I want to get a little bit more experimental. So let's open up the reverb here. One of the things, well, first of all, this is exactly what I want. I like sliders. So for a dumb person like me,
I keep saying I can't keep playing this game.
I mean, that immediately just sounds like a great reverb.
I keep saying I can't.
That's the default.
I keep saying I can't keep playing this game.
You got, and I love this, reverb time, it's telling you the overall size, the dispersion, all here, absorption diversity. It's giving you an idea of what it is, tail, early reflections, dry to wet output. At the moment, it's just set defaulted to 100% wet, which is what I would leave it on unless I was specifically putting it on the vocal. This is on an auxiliary.
I keep saying I can't keep playing this game. This game. I keep finding myself inside of the same.
What's interesting is I really over-compressed this vocal. Let's have a listen.
I keep saying I can't keep playing this game.
It's too compressed. So now, I love just doing this in real time. So let's go in there and go back and grab the Envolution. And let's have some fun. I'm going to go and I'm going to grab the Enhanced High Frequency Transients.
I keep saying I can't keep playing this game, but I keep finding myself inside of the same old same hurricane. Oh, 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 oh,
That's fantastic already. Something as simple as that, just the generic works straight away, sounds amazing.
I keep saying I can't keep playing this game, but I keep finding myself inside of the same old same hurricane. Oh, 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 hurricane. Oh, 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 hurricane. Oh, oh, I keep saying I can't keep playing this game, but I keep finding myself inside of the same.
Just taking this mix knob and bringing it back a little bit.
I keep saying I can't keep playing.
Listen to it without it.
I keep saying I can't keep playing this game, but I keep finding myself inside of the same old same hurricane. Oh, 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 oh.
The compressor was grabbing it far too hard on the recording. I like it, but adding a little bit more of that attack back in is really fantastic. It's hard to emulate that again once you've compressed it because there's not much to grab onto. So that really is a great tool. Now, let's take all of these backgrounds here. So they're going for that same verb. So let's have a listen to the second verb here. So I'm going to pull this Oxford reverb down. And now let's go a little crazier. First of all, let's see what they've got. Oh, chamber. Now we're talking large concert room. No, I don't want that. What I want is emulations. Here we go. 48 large chamber, first one.
Old same hurricane. Oh, 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 hurricane. Oh, 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 hurricane.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sends from these and bring them up a little bit.
I keep saying I can't keep playing this game, but I keep finding myself inside of the same old same hurricane. Oh, 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 hurricane. Oh, 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 hurricane. I keep saying I can't keep playing this game, but I keep finding myself inside old same hurricane. Oh, 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 hurricane.
I mean, everything's now just a little brighter, a little more in your face, just by modeling the transients, just by manipulating the transients would probably be a better way of describing it. With those verbs are fantastic.
I keep saying I can't keep playing this game, inside of the same old same.
Okay, so let's take our acoustic bus now and create another send. We'll go to 2930 and do another stereo auxiliary, stereo bus. I'm going to go and I'm going to grab the reverb again. And I'm going to do something, we don't have to go quite so crazy. Maybe we'll just do something like an absolutely massive hall. Large, fresh hall. I was being sarcastic. Okay, so I want to get rid of some of that low middliness of it. Wah, 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 wah. So let's just see what we can do. Oh, talk about shaping. How easy is that for somebody like me? It was too dark before, now it's exaggerating everything I want. So quick and easy to EQ, makes very, very simple, easy work of it. Multi-probe stereo is used to display the response of both the audio effects and reverb tail section of the reverb. Click and drag handles to adjust gain and frequency. Right click and drag, up and down to adjust Q. Really good. Really, really good. And for a dumb guy like me, I just moved it around till it sounded good. Great. So thank you ever so much, Sonnox, for letting us try out these plugins. I know for many of you, these are like industry standards, and you watch videos with tons of different producers and engineers who use them all the time. But I'm relatively new to this, and I feel like, you know, sometimes like with the Gullfoss and the Leapwing, there's companies that we're just showcasing brand new things because they're freaking amazing. But there's also freaking amazing things that have been around for a while. And I like the interface. I like how that works. I like the Envolution. I feel like just the presets alone for the drum stuff is remarkably good. And solving problems like picking out transients and boosting things in a way that stops you having to overly EQ is really huge. One of the things, especially with low end, you hear me talking all the time about high passing. Yeah, I know, this is where everybody clocks out. Warren's always talking about high passing. High passing's part of it, but also controlling transients. If you've got a kick drum that goes boom, and it's massive, and it's going boom, 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 like this, it's just going to be this huge low end. So I don't want you to go in there and remove all the 40, 50, and 60 hertz off of it, because yeah, that will stop the low end blowing up. Get the Envolution. Start adjusting that transient so you can shorten it. Like you'll see if we go back quickly to the drum print here, the release is set super, super short. Transient here. Now. Huge difference. So if I've got a buildup of a ton of low end, like, you know, probably we should default this to where it is. Put this Envolution on the timpani, for instance. Bypass it. Back in. So adjust the frequency there to be around about 100-ish. It's just enough shortening of it and just enough attack that's just going to sit beautifully in with these other drums, with the piano. My point is that it's taken away a lot of need to do a ton of EQ. I'm controlling it. Instead of that low end being too much, because there's long sustaining timpani, long sustaining, pianos, long sustaining, whatever, I can start shortening things so you're not sitting in there high passing. It's not always about applying EQ, controlling the length of a note and more importantly, the attack. Because once I start bringing the attack up, I can turn it down. So it's a little bit more pointed. So get into that. You'll notice like here on this mix, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 17 plugins across every single thing. That's 17 total plugins on this. It's a big deal to listen to the tracks and think, what do I need to make this work? Now, some of these I printed with Reverbs. I printed them the way I wanted to hear them. And by the way, you can download this because Brad Wood did a course on this, and I also did a course on this. So you can actually see how Brad mixed it and how I did. But anyway, have a marvelous time recording and mixing. Enjoy the plugins. Thank you ever so much, Sonnox, for letting us have these. And of course, you can win 3 copies. So as ever, click all the links below, enter to win. Please leave us. You know what I really want to know is, what do you do when it comes to shaping transients? What do you do when you come to choosing reverbs? What are your tricks? Do you realize, because not many people are teaching this, but do you realize it's not always about applying EQ and compression? Sometimes it is about simply shaping the transients, shaping the sustain of a note so it doesn't blur into 50 other different notes and create a lot of low end that takes you ages to figure out. For instance, when you're doing fast kick drum patterns, I will take, if it's a section, boom, 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 cha, boom, cha, boom, boom, cha, and then it goes to, I will actually use a transient shaper on that fast section and just make it tighter. So it's like, tick, 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 tick. So instead of going, whoa, 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 and having this horrible low end rumble, each of those kick drums will suddenly get shorter, so the low end doesn't sustain as much. This is a big deal. It's logical because now suddenly the notes are like this. They're not overlapping. Woo, woo. That would be terrible. 2 fast kicks of where one is overlapping the other. It'd just be this horrible like 40 to 60 hertz rumble going on. So again, shaping the transients is huge. Envolution's great for that. Reverb's the same thing. Simple. You saw how I reached in there and just pulled down some EQ until it sounded really good to make those percussive sounding acoustics. Well, mandolins, acoustics, and ukuleles, but you understand what I'm saying. There's more to it than just buying endless EQ and compression plugins. There's a lot more fun to be had. Anyway, have a marvelous time recording and mixing. Don't forget to subscribe, go to producelikeapro.com and sign up for the email list and get a whole bunch of free goodies.